The story of bringing Daredevil to live action is a long and complex one, especially if you look at the last 25 years alone. Well, it could have been even more complex and interesting, as originally they wanted Edward Norton, yes, the Incredible Hulk, to play Daredevil in the original film version. Imagine how different of a timeline and turn of events we would have had Edward Norton been the Daredevil in the old Fox film, which of course starred Ben Affleck. That's what we're talking about here. We recently found out that, he was the front runner and they really wanted him. He was far in the conversation, as a matter of fact, but things ended up going in a different direction, and ultimately Ben Affleck took the role because he believed he would never get to play Batman in live action. Now, if you really think about this and the casting process, and we know back in the day that if you joined a Marvel project, you were not allowed to join a rival one for a certain duration of time. I believe it was 5 to 7 years, reportedly. This would have meant he never would have been able to take on the Incredible Hulk, which would have meant that would have went to Marvel's first choice, Universal's first choice, which would have been Mark Ruffalo, and Marvel Studios couldn't insist that they get Edward Norton. So the timeline would be completely different, and there's also this point in time in the early 2000s where Edward Norton was so highly sought after that he drove people to watch his film regardless of what he was in. Would that have put more eyes on Daredevil at the time and made it a bigger success? Would he have done what he did with the Incredible Hulk and, try to rewrite major parts of the script? I mean, it's one of those really interesting what-if scenarios that I think would be really fascinating to kind of like peek into what could have been and what was happening with the conversations and all that. But we know how history here in our multiverse went, and, Daredevil happened. I still like the theatrical cut. I love the extended cut. It got a spin-off, which nobody talks about, and then Fox tried to reboot the character multiple times until they lost the rights to Marvel, and Netflix did their thing, and now it's all history and he's in the MCU. So, man, what an interesting little piece of info we finally got some 20 years after the film came out. Imagine it. They were able to stay quiet on it for that long. Impressive.